Recording in progress.
Hey everyone, welcome. It's time for webinar. I'm Johan Nilsson, one of the founders behind Start Deliver. I'm the CEO. We make a customer success platform. We also have an academy, an academy for customer success called Impact Academy. We do that together with our partner Lincoln Murphy. So welcome to this webinar. We're going to have 20 to 30 minutes together here, and we're going to deep dive into a very important topic, which is expansion. And to start off with here, I would like to just cover the basis. What do we mean by expansion in the terms of customer success? What does it mean? So let's start off there. Just to mention it as well, you will get this recording following the webinar. You will also get some extra material from this webinar just to help you out with what we're going to cover. So, first of all, what is expansion? And for most of us listening in here, we know this very well. But if you're new into customer success, what we talk about here is basically whenever we do an upgrade, if we upgrade a customer from our smaller plan to our bigger plan, if we upgrade them, that's a typical expansion. Another type of expansion is, of course, when we add more users. So if we have a model where we basically charge our customers per user, adding more users mean an expansion. There's of course a lot of variations of this. It can be data, it can be other variable things that actually results in expansion as well. So users are common, but there's of course other opportunities as well there. It can also be that the customer buys another product. Maybe we have an additional product in our portfolio they can buy. So that could also be a type of expansion. What it all boils down to is that we actually increase the annual contract value of a customer. So a single customer that upgrades, they increase their revenue with us, and that's on a customer level. But of course, when we do this across the board, we increase our ARR and we improve our net revenue retention. So that's just to cover a little bit what we're talking about today. More importantly, and we touched on this already, but why does this matter? I think this is really key, and I would like to spend a little bit of time on that as well. And for many of us, this is something we've been working with for a long period of time, but we still see that some organizations out there, they still see customer success as a cost center. How can we reduce cost in customer success? That's a key topic for some organizations. And I think the background here is that when you look at service organizations, you sometimes view them only as cost. So we do the initial sale, and then there's a cost associated with serving the customers. And if you have that mindset and you have that setup, what we're going to talk about today is going to be a little bit revolutionary for you. But what usually happens as you evolve, and as you evolve as a SaaS business, you realize that the cost center and minimizing cost and trying to reduce basically the service you give your customers, that will not help you long term. And what's usually hits you in the head is this: you get churn, right? So when you have a lot of churn, you realize that probably looking at customer success as a cost center is not going to help us here. And churn hits you hard because that's going to make you, if you have a lot of churn, you will eventually die out as a business. But more importantly, if you have a lot of churn, you basically have customers leaving you that they don't think your product works. They might tell others. If you have a lot of churn, of course, all the new business will not mean growth for you. So this is usually the first problem that hits you. And when this happens, basically retention comes into focus. That's like the early stage. Okay, we go from only having support, being a service organization. Now we need to be all about reducing churn. Retention is our focus, and that's a great stepping stone into what we're going to talk about today, because we believe good customer success, it is a lot more than just reducing churn. Retention is a very key part of it, and if you see this as if you look at the bigger picture here, retention is central, it's key. That's what we want to make sure that our customers are successful. If they are, they will renew, they will stay with us for a very long period of time. If you have basically 5 to 7% churn, that means your customer is going to be with you for 15 plus years, and that's a long time, right? So retention is a key metric, of course. But what we're talking about today is what we talk about today is expansion. And why does expansion matter? Because if you have churn, expansion is the only way to bring your net revenue retention above 100%. And if you bring your net revenue retention above 100%, that means that you will stay on the same level. If you have 100% without any new business, you will just keep the same turnover year after year after year. If you have 130% net revenue retention, that means that you will basically double in 3 years without any new business. So that's a huge metric. So expansion is not only just a nice thing to have. Expansion is actually a key thing for your business to keep growing, and it can actually be the number one growth mechanic in your company. Especially as you become a larger and larger business, you will see a huge return here. So retention is key. That's what great customer success is about. Expansion is also what great customer success is all about. We have two more things we want to add to that, having this bigger picture of things. And if you do this good, you will also have advocates that will basically recommend your product to others. You will also have what we call eternal users that basically stay with you when they move to other companies. They will bring your product into other companies, because people move around, people advance their career. So if you look at it like this, of course, customer success is not a cost center, it's a growth center. And I think it's a very important point. And sometimes we in customer success see this, but maybe we need to bring our leadership team behind this as well, because then we will get more resources to do more. So customer success is a growth center, and expansion, as I said, is necessary for a high net revenue retention. I would say that churn is, for most of us, something that will happen. We will not be able to keep churn to zero, because there will be companies basically going bankrupt, being acquired. There's a lot of situations happening where churn is, it's going to happen no matter what we do. So even if we do a great job with retention, expansion is going to move the needle when it comes to net revenue retention. So, from a customer success perspective, can expansion ever be bad? Oh, yes, it can actually be bad. And I think this is the tricky part here for someone that hasn't been in customer success for a while, because if you try to do what we do in new business, when we do acquisition, when we bring in new customers, if we put that tactics into play for customer success, that can really hurt us. If you see customers as leads, where you're just going to do a campaign and you're going to call them and you're going to push a product on them, not that that is a good tactic anyways, but if you get the sense, like if you do too many things that works in new business, and you try to just do that on existing customers, you will hit a brick wall. Because sometimes some of your customers, they won't be ready. Some of your customers might not even be happy what they already have bought in the first place. They might not even use the platform at all. And if you try to sell more to them, that's going to hurt the relationship, and maybe that will even accelerate them leaving you and having a churn on you. So new business tactics do not work. We need to be careful here, and that this is where we're going to dig into today. How do we actually do and execute expansion in the right way? So, from a customer success perspective, can lack of expansion be bad? Can basically, if we don't expand on our customers, can that be bad? Yes, that can be bad too. So, if we are not expanding on customers, that is also actually a risk, because customers have goals, and these goals, they evolve. And if we are not there to help them, support them, and make them hit their next goal and grow with us, we they will hit the ceiling. They will believe that our product is not enough. So actually, customers that are successful with our platform, that use it regularly, that get the value, that hit their business goals, they want to expand with us. They expect that, and they want more from us. And the more we can do to help them their next goals, they are more than willing to invest in us. So lack of expansion is also bad. So that leads us into this topic today, where we want to cover some key things with regards to expansion. And I want to start off with some fundamentals, because sometimes when I talk expansion and we have sessions with groups of teams of customer success, sometimes the head of customer success have a product that is basically, it's just a one license, it's a one plan, it's nothing more. And of course, the the prerequisite to do expansion is that you have pricing and plans that support you. So number one here is pricing and plans. So of course, this is a given, right? If you don't have supporting pricing and plans for doing expansion, it's going to be hard, right? And to in the fine line here, a lot of times we we as SaaS businesses optimize our pricing and plans for sales. So we look at pricing as a way of positioning ourselves. It's the commercial, it's part of the commercial deal we do with it's about it's part of the commercial presentation of the company, of the product. And it's all around bringing in new customers, and that can be a problem, because that's going to hurt, that's going to make it difficult for us to do expansion. So what do I mean by pricing and plans? Just a few examples. Common is to have different type of plans: the small, the medium, the large, whatever we call them. You usually might have some add-ons. You might even have some services that is not a recurring revenue for us. So you have some pricing and plans to consider. And our advice here is basically to look into how can we, instead of optimizing for sales only, how can we optimize pricing for customer success? And this is a huge topic, and we can't cover everything here, but I want to send a few recommendations to you. And of course, if you're a CSM listening to this, how can I change the pricing, right? So that's going to be hard, but at least what we can do is to say, hey, I believe we have a lot of opportunities to expand, but we need to do something with the pricing. Can we do that? Can we have a workshop? Can we bring product together? What can we do here? And if you do a workshop with product, here is two. I'm going to give you two things that is quite good exercises to identify add-ons, identify maybe updating the plans, separating plans, finding things that can help from a customer success point of view. The first one is about looking at what kind of features a customer typically adopts post onboarding. So they have been onboarded. What do they adopt? That also is not something they buy upfront. So something that they are not like a key thing to buying in the first place, but typically something they adopt after onboarding. And that after onboarding, what is that? It can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be 2 years. It all depends on the type of product you have, and the complexity, and of course the size of customers and so on. So there's a lot of variables here, but this is quite good exercise to brainstorm, to work out some ideas on things that you can add or adopt in your pricing. Another one is to look more on maturity. I think maturity is something that is a natural way to segment customers, and also identify upgrades opportunities. So what characteristics do your customers users have, if you kind of look at different maturity levels? So if they are early, mid, or advanced in maturity, what are the differences, and what is usually a trigger to move between these maturity levels? Because those triggers can be really good to track, and also really good way to know when it's usually, it can be a milestone where you basically can start introducing an upgrade. So these are two things to look into if you want to improve and optimize pricing and plans for customer success. So number one was pricing and plans. Let's go on. My number two, and this is a very important one, mindset. So expansion is, for most of us, it's something we do regularly, but we need to remind the team, we need to remind everyone that expansion it's key for success. It's key for our customers being getting full value out of us. As I mentioned earlier, a customer that is doing really well with us or hitting their goals, they expect to do more, and that's usually where expansion plays in. And also, already covered, it's necessary for net revenue retention. It's necessary to bring our net revenue retention up. So if you come from a more of a service mindset, or if you come from a like reduced churn mindset, we need to switch that into a net revenue retention mindset. And part of that is also this third point, which is that customer success is commercial. We have a commercial relationship with our customers. They pay for our service. They want to pay for our service. They get a lot of value from it. And if we can provide more value, they are happy to pay more. And I think this is also sometimes something we need to train our team in. Maybe they have no commercial background. Maybe they come from more of a service background. So that's something you need to train on. And the third part, the fourth point I want to make here, which I think is really important for us, especially as leaders, is to realize that we work with a portfolio of customers, most of us, and they are very different. The customers' situations are very different, and especially if we have churn, if we have issues with adoption, if we have customers canceling agreements, we have firefighting, we have that type of part, we have some part of our business not doing well, basically. And our customer success teams are, of course, heavily involved there, heavily invested in doing that. They need to code switch. They need to do things differently to do expansion. And this is actually one of the hurdles to move the team from maybe being all focused about retaining customers and maybe doing turnarounds, and all of a sudden they are in a discussion where they want to ask for more money. So I think that's a mindset where you need to be able to move from saving a customer or making a turnaround. Maybe you even do some discounts just to keep them. And then in the other call, you're actually asking the customer to do an upgrade. So a very important part is this code switching. And to make it very clear, one part of this is also to make it visible for the team. How do I do this code switching? When do I do it? And how can I basically plan my day to not only focus on one part of my portfolio? And to do that, you need visibility. So you need to know which are my risk customers, of course. So if I see I have these customers with poor usage, maybe they haven't achieved, have no progress, of course I need to do I need to drive some turnarounds here and get them going again. That's key, that's important. That's going to reduce churn, and that's going to help net revenue retention. But if I only spend my time here, I will probably miss. On the other side, we have these customers. They have actually they have a high usage. They use maybe not all the platform. Maybe they only have our mid or entry plan. Maybe they have even added more users than we charge for. We know the size of them. Maybe we can move with them into a new market. So I need to see also all of my expansion opportunities. And this is where code switching is key. So maybe spend the one day, Monday, I spend on my at-risk customers. Tuesday, I spend on my expansion potential customers. That type of work needs to be managed. And I think this is where a lot of missed opportunities are in customer success. So mindset is really key. If you want to focus on expansion, you need to have that mindset, and you need to get your team behind that to make a real impact. Number 3, and this is something we repeat a lot at Impact Academy. This is something it's key in Start Deliver, the product, of course. And this is goals. And what we mean here is that customer goals. Customers always have goals. Whether we know about it, whether we're part of it, they have goals, and we mean business goals. So business goals can be, of course, it can be to save money, it can be to grow sales, it can be to become more efficient. There's different types of business goals, but we need to dig into those, and we need to make the link between our product and us as a company, how we can help them hit those goals. And how we do that is goal discovery. And that's also like a huge topic, but main point here is that when we know, if we do goal discovery, if we together with the customer identify goals, and goals are, it's an objective and a time frame. So basically we want to do this by then, right? So we want to increase sales by 15% this quarter, or similar goals. That's a clear goal. So when we discover goals, we have an objective and a time frame. We can link milestones to those goals. So we can basically say, all right, the way to hit that goal is that you have to do these things in our product. These are the steps to get there. These are progress milestones that we will together follow and track. If you do that, you have a great plan to start with, but you also have a huge opportunity to also link opportunities to these goals. Of course, this comes back a little bit to pricing and plans, but let's say we covered that in the point 1, and we have a great pricing structure that supports customer success. We can say, okay, we have these progress milestones. When you hit them, we also have an opportunity to do more with you. So this is a completely new way of working, and this is very far from how you work in new business, but this is very much a customer-centric way of working with expansion. And how this will look like can of course vary, but simply put, you need to have a business goal and a time frame. If you have that, you can basically set these progress milestones, and you can of course make sure, and this is a joint accountability thing where your customer needs to do things on their side, we do things on our side to help them hit their goal. But this is a great way to drive the dialogue with the customer, and basically bring the tension and intent back to what we're trying to do here. So if we know the business goal, we can put together milestones that we want to work together with the customer, and that's what we do in customer success. That's what we do. That's going to lead to expansion. This is, by the way, also the way to make a turnaround with the customer if you have someone that's not doing well. So goals are key to do expansion. When we have the goals, we come into something that's more of a method, and something more of a way to set yourself up for expansion opportunities, what we call orchestration. And orchestration is a concept that Lincoln Murphy coined, and it's a method we work through in our Impact Academy. And basically, what it's all about is uh, having it, making the upgrade natural, making it part of the progress with the customer, and having it timely done. If we compare it to how like a new business sales, where you basically just call customers and sell to them directly, this is linked more to the progress we do together with the customer. So it's a key concept to work through these milestones, basically. And just to, in plain text, what do we mean here? Basically, if we have if we know, if we discover what the customer's goal is, and we have broken it down in milestones, we can basically say to the customer, we will work together with you to hit these milestones, and by hitting the milestones, you will reach your goal or will get closer to your goal. By the way, when we hit the last milestone, you also have an opportunity to add this new feature that we have in our product. It will help you accelerate, but it's only when you're there. When you are there, we will look at adding that to you, to your business, and that's an add-on, or that's an upgrade, or whatever it might be. So basically, we are here today. We bring it up to the customer. It's not right now, but when we are at the end of this progress milestone, that's then it's going to be the right time, because you will be closer to your goal, or you have hit your goal. You have achieved these milestones. You're up and running. You're doing more in the platform. That's going to be the right time to do this. Is that fair? Is that okay? Is that something? Does that make sense? So you basically get the buy-in from the customer. You present it early, and when they hit that milestone, it's very natural to bring it up. It's of course also, they will be ready for it. Maybe they're not even ready now, even if they would ask for it. So that's the way to like set yourself up to have an expansion coming up later on, and then you can just focus about on driving these milestones and making those happen as fast as possible. And of course, here you can find ways to do that quicker, and you can even add services or do whatever to make that happen, and that by that accelerating as well. But orchestration is actually about planning for the upgrade by linking it to these steps or these milestones that you want to do with the customer. So coming into the last one here. So last but not least, priorities. It's not the most fun thing, but I think this is also something that's clearly standing in the way for expansion. We did a huge survey. We interviewed more than 300 customer success managers, heads of customer success, and we asked them how their capacity is. As you can see, more than 50% are way or below or way below what's needed. 63% are more or less behind. So we don't have enough time. And what do we do with our time? So this was another question. So where do you spend your time, basically? So most of us in customer success, we spend time support. Should we? Probably not. Troubleshooting, support type of actions, inbound request, emails, onboarding projects, and then number 4 is outbound proactive calls, meetings. And number 4 is the one that's going to drive expansion. So how can you do expansion if this is the priorities, right? So how can you get onto, if you think expansion is important, if you think net revenue retention is important, you need expansion. And to do expansion, you need to have the capacity to do that. So you need to do capacity planning. What do I mean? Basically looking at, where do I spend my time? Audit that. Where in my week does the time go? And what type of calls, meetings, tasks, whatever. And where should I spend my time? And this is, if you're a CSM, you probably want to bring this up with your manager and say, this is how it looks. What should I deprioritize? I spend 2 days per week just responding on support, troubleshooting. can we move that somewhere else? Can I do something? Can we bring in a new resource? Whatever it takes. So you need to deprioritize, because everything is important. All these things are important, of course, but what's very important but not urgent is these expansion opportunities that are out there, and we are missing those. And the last part here is preparations, because that's what we see as well. When you start working with this, when you start working with goals, this goal discovery, objection management, orchestration, joint accountability, when you work with all these concepts, that takes preparations, but that's where you get the huge impact as well. So um, to basically get the prioritization right, these are the things you need to do. And that's the last part on how you can really drive up expansion. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you soon.